The Pacific is a 2010 television series produced by HBO and produced by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. The series is a companion piece to the 2001 miniseries Band of Brothers and focuses on the United States Marine Corps' action in the Pacific theater of operations within the wider Pacific War. The Pacific centers on the experiences of three Marines, Eugene Sledge, Robert Leckie, and John Basilone, who were all in different regiments of the 1st Marine Division. The miniseries features the 1st Marine Division's battles in the Pacific, such as Guadalcanal, Cape Gloucester, Peleliu, and Okinawa, as well as Basilone's involvement in the Battle of Iwo Jima. It is based primarily on the memoirs of two U.S. Marines, with The Old Breed at Peleliu and Okinawa by Eugene Sledge, and Helmet for My Pillow by Robert Leckie. The series is based off the memoirs of Marines, and each episode begins with interviews from actual Marines, as well as a historical overview of what is going on at the point in the series, as well as the point in the war. Part 8 of the miniseries deals with the Battle of Iwo Jima. By the end of 1944, American B-29 superfortresses were raining bombs on Japanese cities, flying from bases in recently captured Marianas Islands. A large Japanese radar facility on the small island of Iwo Jima gave the home islands advance warning whenever B-29s were on their way. To eliminate that radar station, and at the urging of the U.S. Army Air Force's commanders to establish an airbase in the Bonin Islands, the U.S. launched Operation Detachment. Beginning on December 8th, intermittent airstrikes against Iwo Jima that had begun in August gave way to daily bombardment. For 2 straight weeks in January, naval gunfire was added. On D-Day, 30,000 men of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Divisions stormed onto the island and found themselves struggling through thick black volcanic sand that made breathing hard and often immobilized the vehicles, all the while by being fired on by many enemies. With bazookas, tanks, flamethrowers, and demolition charges, the majority of the Marines fought their way north toward the airstrip for 36 days, sometimes measuring their progress in feet per day. By March 26, they owned the island, although pockets of resistance still had to be cleared. Less than 300 defenders were taken alive, and the Marines paid 6,500 dead and 20,000 wounded to take the 8-square-mile volcanic island. In producing the series, Spielberg and Hanks tried to make the series as historically accurate as possible, as they followed the memoirs from old Marines and history books to produce a story for the series. But, like always, Hollywood has its play in the series and has affected the historical accuracy of the Pacific. As we see life in camp, we see that the Marines appear to be happy in the movie and also well-fed. But, from historical references, we know that neither of these is 100% accurate, as Marines were often not well-fed and morale in the camps often reached very low. Throughout the battle scenes, we see grenades violently and powerfully blow up all around the Marines as they are fighting. In real life, these grenades were not that powerful, and for the series, they made the grenades seem a lot more powerful than they were, and almost more like artillery than grenades. As far as the landing of the Marines on the beach and the fighting scenes depicted in this episode, they are indeed historically accurate. When the Marines landed on the beach, they headed north towards the airstrip and were constantly attacked by heavy Japanese fire, some of which they could not even see, as the Japanese were hidden in tunnels and bunkers. In this episode, we see exactly that depicted, and the series does a great job of accurately depicting the battle scenes on Iwo Jima. Also in this episode, we see the death of the newly reinstated American hero John Basilone, as he valiantly dies trying to lead his men up the beach to take out a Japanese bunker. The way his death is depicted is accurate, and he did indeed receive a Medal of Honor for his actions on Iwo Jima, which we see given to his family later in the series. All in all, Spielberg and Hanks did a terrific job depicting the war in the Pacific and the struggles that the soldiers had to go to, both internally and externally, with the rain, mud, and the Japanese soldiers. Spielberg and Hanks also did a good job following the history books and the memoirs from the Marines, as they did try to make the series as historically accurate as they could, and for the most part, the series was pretty historically accurate. As far as the scenes on Iwo Jima, for the most part, they were historically accurate, and the death of John Basilone was extremely accurate and did indeed happen.